back! Oh my god, what was that noise? What was that noise I just made? Somebody tell me. Well, hello! Welcome to Only a Flesh Wound. It's Amy again, because I'm the only one who is involved in this entire podcast. Surprise! It's just me. But we're back. It's been a weird 2 weeks, I think. I don't know. Has anybody else felt like that these 2 weeks have been both really, really slow and really, really fast? 2 weeks ago, when the last episode went up, felt like forever ago, but it also feels like I have not been away that long. I don't know. It's a really weird feeling. I don't think I experience the passage of time as I normally should, or as people should. Am I like beyond time? No, I think I'm just an idiot. I'm acting like I'm like a Time Lord or something. No, I'm just dumb. But I'm not that dumb, actually. One of the really, really cool things that happened over the last 2 weeks was I got my marks back for my first, like, officially marked thing for my MA, my Masters. And for that module on meeting medieval manuscripts, I got a distinction. And I don't know how I did that. Oh god, bash the table. How did that happen? How? I don't know. I don't know how that happened. But I am. It's been a while since I've been like proud of myself. And now I am. I am quite proud of myself for doing that and for figuring that out and somehow not sucking. So we had to write an essay and a transcription of like a manuscript page. It was fun. It was really stressful because I did a really stupid thing and did a transcription from a manuscript in a language that I did not know. So I could not like guess at the words. I had to try and figure out everything without having any comprehension as to what the thing was talking about. I was just guessing. And my essay, I don't know, I thought it sucked, got a distinction. I'm so happy. And I don't know, that's fun. I also got invited to 2 PGCE interviews, so I'll hopefully be doing my teacher training next year. I'm excited. It's all coming together. It's not. I'm still chaotic. I'm still very chaotic. And I should not be allowed to be an adult. But somehow I am. But, so, I was thinking this morning, and I was like, what shall I make the next episode of the podcast about? Because I have a list of ideas for episodes, and I just kind of go with what I want to do. And I was thinking, and I was looking, and I was going, oh wait, this episode is going to go up on Valentine's Day. I should make a Valentine's episode. So this is My Saint Little Valentine. Episode 6. We're on episode 6. It's been 6 episodes. I'm surprised we're still here. And today we're going to talk about Saint Valentine, who is, of course, Saint Valentine. I'll tell you who that is. And then I thought, I'm just gonna chat some shit about the medieval origins of Valentine's Day. Because people forget. People forget that these things have very, very ancient, old origins. They're like, oh no, it started in the 80s, or like, Hallmark invented Valentine's Day. They did not. They did not. And we will learn. So, if you at any point enjoy this episode, please like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends about us. Because we're a very tiny podcast, and I love it. I love that we're tiny. But also, I want more people to listen to me chatting absolute rubbish. I want people to hear me yelling about medieval history into a microphone that I bought on Amazon. It's what I need in life, or else I will be sad. I'm joking. Oh my god. I don't think I was joking. Oh, that's a bit scary. But anyway, today's episode, My Saint Little Valentine. If you don't get the reference, it's to the song My Sweet Little Valentine? Sweet Funny Valentine? I don't know. It's a song reference of some sort. Oh god. I act like I know songs. I do not know songs. But we're going to talk about Saint Valentine. Now, Saint Valentine was not medieval. I know, shocking, horror. Shock, horror, disaster. I'm not talking about medieval history. I'm talking about some classic history. Because I kind of have to set up this, because I can't just go on about Valentine's Day and not tell you who Saint Valentine was, because that will make absolutely no sense to anybody. And also I did a load of research, and that would be a waste of my research time, when I could have been, I don't know, eating. I have a bar of chocolate on my desk, and I could have been eating that, but no, I was on the Saint Valentine Wikipedia page. Academia. So, Saint Valentine was a 4th century Roman priest. If you remember, when did I say medieval period started? It was a couple hundred years after. It was shortly before the medieval period happened. And he used to minister to Christians, apparently, when Christianity was illegal. Oh god. Because, Christianity used to be illegal in the classic world, which is odd because I'm a medieval historian, and it's like, oh wait, everybody is Christian in this world. Almost everybody. And it's weird to look at a time of history when that was kind of not the case. And I thought that was interesting. Probably not interesting to anybody else. So he was born on 226 Common Era, and he was martyred, or died, killed for ministering or whatever, on the 14th of February 269 CE. So 14th of February, that's where the date comes from, that's where he died. Happy Valentine's Day, somebody got murdered. Why did I find that so funny? I should not have found that funny. Somebody died. So, St. Valentine, we kind of don't know who he is. So, there is no named St. Valentine on the list of Roman martyrs, like the earliest list. Apparently it was called the Chronography, made in 354 CE. Although apparently the patron of that chronography was a Roman Christian called Valentinus, so we don't know. So the first appearance of St. Valentine as a name is in the Martyrologicum Hieronymium. My Latin is awful. Which was made between 460 and 540. And it was like a compilation of earlier sources. So we kind of don't know. So Valentine derives from this word meaning valens, this valens word, and it means worthy, strong, powerful. It was a really popular name, apparently, in late antiquity. There'll be a lot of apparentlys in this section because I don't know classic history. And there are 11 other saints that have the name Valentine. And the Roman martyrology so the first appearance of St. Valentine, lists all of the other 11 Valentines, and only 7 of those other Valentines did not die on February 14th. So there were like, hold on, maths. 5 St. Valentines listened in the Martyrologicum Hieranem Beder, who died on the February 14th. So, who is this guy? We have no idea. Apparently there's some churches named after him in Rome somewhere. I don't know. So it's kind of unclear who he was, where he was, what was going on, what he did. We don't really know. Can't really work out where the first appearance of him is, because it could be just another random Valentine. There could be mix-ups of the other Valentines who also die on the 14th of February. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Though, apparently, St. Valentine is the patron saint of epilepsy. So that's a fun fact that I learned today. But that's about it. So the feast of St. Valentine's on February the 14th was created or established in 496 by Pope Gelasius I. So 496 CE, Common Era, is when the first Feast of St. Valentine's was. On 14th of February. So that is some old school tradition. That is old for me. And I'm like, oh yeah, 600, that's normal. Shakespeare's too recent for me. And I'm like, oh no, this is old. So, yeah, that's St. Valentine, and that's all I could really find about him, because people do not know a lot about him. There is not much evidence, there is not much that we do know. And also, if there is more that people do know, I could not find it. Because I did some research, but also I don't know where to go for academic sources for classical history. Because I'm not a classicist, as we know. Oh, sorry, I just breathed in really hard and just choked myself. Happy Valentine's! I died. So, we're actually going to go into some history that I do know. Thank fuck. I was trying not to say the F word. I was like, which word can I say, and it just forced its way out of my brain. Just, no, you've got to throw the F-bomb into this podcast as much as possible. You can't not. You have to swear in every episode, or else whatever. Medieval Valentine's Day. Medieval Valentine's Day. So much more easy to understand. So much easier to understand for me. Oh my god. Oh, there's actual evidence. Oh, there's records. Oh, oh thank God. Oh, thank everything. So, during the first part of the medieval period, so the early Middle Ages, there was this belief in France and England, or kind of the areas that we consider France and England now. Obviously, I'm not going into the whole shebang of Englishness in early medieval period, because that is a mess, and there's 700 people going on. But the areas that we know of France and England now, it was believed that birds' mating season, the mating season for birds, began on the 14th of February. So, does anybody remember the thing about Twitter pating in Bambi, the owl? It was basically that. That is what they believe was going on the 14th of February every year. It was so popular. It was from that people kind of got this idea that February the 14th was associated or celebrated as a day of love and romance, because it was the start of mating season. By the 14th and 15th centuries, like, it was so popular. There is so much poetry and literature of romantic verses, like linking Valentine's Day and romantic love. So Chaucer, our boy Chaucer, in Parliament of Fools, wrote, "For this was on St. Valentine's Day, when every foal comes there to choose his mate." Basically, that's just an example of literature being like, oh yeah, 14th of February, love time. There are others, but I like Chaucer. I don't like Chaucer, but he's the one people know about. So, that's kind of how the association with love came about. But the problem is that Valentine's Day was not like this huge feast in the medieval period. It was not this big a deal. It was really not. So, in the medieval times, the Christian community kind of lived through religious calendars. So they had all of the saints' days and the festivals and the times of harvesting and planting and when to use stored food or when to do certain things, when to, I don't know, worship which saints. And Valentine was not the most important saint in those calendars, or by any standard in the medieval period. So there were 40 to 50 festa ferenda, which were celebratory festivals for saints, and whenever there was a festa ferenda, people had and were absolutely required to not go to work. They had to skive off work that day, and they would have to fast and attend Mass. They would have to go to church, they would have to fast. And Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, the Feast of St. Valentine, was not a festa ferenda. It was not big, it was not listed, it was basically not that big of a deal. In fact, it was not even the biggest deal in February. So the biggest kind of celebration for the medieval period in February was Candlemas. So Candlemas is on the February 2nd, and its full name, which is long and complicated, and thank God we have Candlemas as a word, because I would hate to say the Feast of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary every single time. So we just call it Candlemas. And Candlemas is when February 2nd is apparently when it's like a commemoration of the Virgin Mary presenting Jesus at a temple 40 days after he was born. So that's what February 2nd is, that's what Candlemas was, and that was the big deal in February. It was not Valentine's Day. Like, people did not care, really. They were like, oh, it's bird mating season, and, you know, everybody's getting a little bit frisky, but, you know, February 2nd is the big deal because that's got to do with Jesus. It's, like, directly to do with Jesus and not this random Roman saint who is, you know, one of 12 Valentines, and he was, like, 1,000 or something years ago, and nobody knows what actually he did, and, you know, he could be one of the other guys, but we have no clue, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And after that, it slowly, like, shifted. So Valentine's Day started as not this big deal in terms of religious significance. It was overshadowed shadowed by Candlemas. It was a minor saint's day. It was, just kind of there on the calendars. People didn't really pay attention to it. And then it started getting associated with the start of bird mating season, which kind of linked it slightly to courtly love and romance. And then it slowly shifted, pardon me, very, very slowly until 1415 CE, which is when we have the first Valentine's card. 1415 is when the first Valentine's Day card was ever written, which is incredible. And I wanted to talk about Valentine's cards for a while now. So, as I said, the first Valentine's card was in 1415. It was by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife. While he was in the Tower of London, after he was captured at the Battle of Agincourt, which... the Battle of Agincourt is a big deal in terms of medieval history, but I know nothing about the Battle of Agincourt. I'm a terrible medievalist. Oh crap. And I don't know what it says, but apparently it's part of the collection in the British Library in London. So, you could just turn up and ask, see if they'd let you take it. I doubt they would. Please, sir, may I have this precious artifact? Ah, yeah, sure, here you go, child. I'm 21. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a child. So that's the first Valentine's card that we know of in the world. The first Valentine's greeting in English that is still surviving. We obviously don't know. There could have been things earlier going on that haven't survived the tests of time, because that happens a lot in medieval history. A lot of the stuff is lost. But the first surviving Valentine's card in English is in 1477, so a little bit later than the first known Valentine's card, but not that far, not too different, honestly. It's only about 50-60 years, so there was obviously this big shift very quickly to have no Valentine's cards, nothing going on, and then suddenly, in the span of 60 years, there is 2 that we have. Which sounds like not a lot of evidence, but in the medieval world, 2 Valentine's cards is a lot of evidence. That's a boom. So the first English Valentine's card is a letter from Marjorie Bruce to her neighbour and suitor, her, the person she wanted to marry, the person who was courting her or whatever, John Paston. So the card, it was a letter, really, it's more of a letter than a card, and it talked about the negotiations for Marjorie to marry John. So the negotiations between John and Sir Thomas Bruce, Marjorie's father, which is how, marriage worked back then. Apparently the marriage negotiations had become kind of stopped. They hit a point where they couldn't debate, because it was something about the dowry. I think she was the first of Sir Thomas Bruce's daughters to get married, and John Paston wanted a bigger dowry, but then Sir Thomas Bruce was like, I have 4 other daughters, they will need dowries too, what are you doing? So, I think that's a very fair argument to have. I can't give you all of my money, I have other children that need dowries, Mr. Paston. So in that letter, it's from Marjorie to John, And she calls John her right well beloved Valentine, and promises to love him truly over all earthly things, even if he had less money than he did, which, is very sweet, I think. Oh, you're my Valentine and I love you so much, even if you have no money, I will still love you more than anything else on earth, is the cheesiest line now, but back in the day that would have been really good. And they got married very soon after, apparently. So the letter might have worked. The letter probably worked then. Definitely worked. Because, they were married after. Or, John Paston and Sir Thomas Bruce stopped yelling at each other about a dowry. Who knows? So that's the first letter. But it isn't until the Tudor times, so just after the medieval period, that we kind of see people giving gifts on Valentine's Day. So, yeah, that's rather a big shift. So if she'd seen it from a relatively unknown saint connected to love through changing of the seasons and bird mating seasons, to people sharing romantic letters and cards on Valentine's Day, to the Tudor period, where it was a time for giving gifts and physical possessions. And it's kind of this transformation that's quite odd, I think. I mean, it happened over a very, very long period of time, which makes sense, because you would need that thousands of years to have that change so quickly. Quickly? No. To have that cultural shift work and stick, it would have to happen slowly. You could not do it in 100 years or so, because people's minds are slow to change. The one thing I will say is that apparently, historians also say that, is what I read on the internet, that the original St. Valentine of Rome, which is apparently what they call him, had sent a letter to his jailer's daughter the day before he was going to be executed. Apparently he, was in love with this girl, and the letter was signed "From Your Valentine." So, but I mean, he literally is from your Valentine. That's his name. So that makes sense. But using somebody else's name as an expression of love and greeting, I don't know, that's a bit weird to me. From your John. Can you imagine if his name was, I don't know, Peter? And you have to talk about, your Peter rather than your Valentine? It's like that. So it wasn't just that nobody had ever said "From Your Valentine" by the time that these two letters from Marjorie and Charles, Duke of Orleans, was sending letters to their loves, professing their love. The original Valentine had said "From Your Valentine," but it's functioning in a different way, because one is a name, the other is a kind of title that they're giving their love, really. Which is interesting. I think it's interesting. And what I also wanted to talk about was because people very much forget, that the medieval period, the Middle Ages, did not exist in isolation. It really didn't. There were continuities, there were things that stretched out after the medieval period, that came from the medieval period, and there was stuff that the medieval world took from earlier traditions. So I just kind of wanted to say, kind of two of the legends that I found from the pre-medieval period that kind of influenced the Middle Ages kind of celebration of Valentine's Day. So the first one is this legend, this idea, myth, whatever, that Valentine's Day is a pagan festival. Like, its origins are founded in a pagan festival, the feast of Lupercalia, a fertility festival celebrated in mid-February by ancient Rome. Apparently, the festival, you would pair boys and girls through a lottery system, like pull a name out of the hat, and that would, you know, show you who you were going to fall in love with and who you were going to marry. Which, bit weird, not gonna lie. Ooh, I pulled a name out of the hat, that's your husband forever. No. But kind of that ancient connection of middle February and romance and love and marriage was already there, and that did probably influence a little bit of the shift in the medieval period from a religious festival to a romantic festival. The other legend is this weird legend that is not substantiated. We have no idea if this is true or not. That there was a priest called St. Valentine that lived in Rome under Emperor Claudius II? Yes, Claudius II. And apparently Claudius banned engagements and marriages in Rome, and this priest Valentine would secretly marry people, and then, because that was illegal, he was executed, and he became the patron saint of lovers, and they celebrated, you know, his execution and his martyrdom by, you know, expressing the love for their beloved and exchanging notes and, like, oh, let's celebrate the fact that there's guys to, you know, marry people even though it was illegal. Which is a lovely story. But as I said before, the St. Valentine that we do know existed was ministering to Christians. This is a St. Valentine that could be one of the other Valentines who died on February 14th. Could be. We don't know. Or at least I don't know. If you do know, let me know. That's a lot of no's. Because it's really hard to kind of substantiate any evidence when you're getting to this part of history. It's really hard to find stuff because, you know, it's all falling apart in the sands of time and everything is slowly destroying itself. That's really dramatic. But it is. And that's kind of, it's a lovely story, and I hope it's true. I do hope it's true. Because I'm a romantic at heart. I am such a romantic at heart. And it's a bit weird, I will admit. But I want there to have been this guy who was running around Rome just like engaging and marrying people off together and being like, love will conquer. And I'm like, oh, cute, please. Please can there be a happy story? But that's the medieval origins of Valentine's Day. I thought it was cool. Thought it was interesting. And I had to capitalise on the holiday. LOL. I just said lol. Frick. Somebody punched me in the face. I can't believe I just said lol out loud. This is not 2012. I am not like 16 again. what is happening. But no. A very quick shift in emotions there. Yeah. But I think it's interesting because, you know, Valentine's Day is so commercial now. It really is. I mean, come on. You go down to any shop, any card shop, you know, even like a supermarket, even, you know, groceries, even like anything. And there's Valentine's cards, there's Valentine's gifts, there's chocolates, there's roses, and you're like, oh, what's the point? What is the point? Why do you need this day to tell someone that you love them? But that is a separate rant. You know, just if you love somebody, just tell them that you love them regardless of what day it is. Do not wait until the 14th of February to be nice to people that you love, okay? Okay? That's my public service announcement out of the way. But the medieval origins are a bit more, you know, complicated, bit weird, shifty. They, you know, ooh, religious holiday, ooh, banging. That's not what any of the medieval celebrations of Valentine's Day were about. And, you know, I wanted to talk about Valentine's Day. Thought it'd be fun, because it is Valentine's Day. Ooh, no, that's a good thing. I do want to say that if you are listening to this and, like me, you do not have a partner for Valentine's Day, that is completely fine. Do you know what I'm doing? I am going to a society that I am the chair of, and we're watching Miss Sherlock, and it's going to be fun, and I'm going to, because for me Valentine's Day is about celebrating kind of all types of love, so romantic, friendship, platonic, self-love, and you don't have to have like a partner to be like, oh yeah, let's talk about love today, because you love more than one person in different ways, obviously, or not obviously, but love yourself, have fun, celebrate Valentine's Day however the hell you want, because nobody can stop you. Absolutely nobody. There aren't any, you know, Valentine's police. It's not a thing. But that's the episode, and if you liked the episode, please like the episode. Let us know, comment, subscribe if you want to keep up with whenever we post episodes. We're fortnightly. And if you want to chat to us, or tell me more cool information, or tell me what I got wrong, or suggest ideas, or just, you know, talk to me, we have a Twitter @fleshwoundpod, or you can email us on onlyafleshwoundpodcast@gmail.com. And, you know, chat to us, because I'm not scary. I'm really not. I'm 5'1". And with that bombshell, I will see you in a fortnight.